Alright, time for the ugly post-mortem of the loss that ended the Vikings season.
Cowboys, 49ers, Cowboys
Um,
beat the 49ers 41. They put up 41 on the Niners to 33. Big day all
I'm
the way
still
around
exhausted.
for Tony Pollard.
I'm
who
still
had two
completely
TDs
just
on the
spent on
ground.
this season, but
Titans
for
and
this
the
game,
Lions,
just
46
talking
to
about this game,
25. Derrick Henry continues to dominate on the
I
ground.
mean, number
24
one
carries,
culprit I'm putting
147
on,
yards and a TD on the day. Marvin Jones
I'm
goes
putting
for
it on
112
Kubiak.
and a touchdown in the
I
loss for Detroit. Colts
just,
beat the Texans 27 to 20. Dolphins end up beating
for me,
the
it's not
Patriots
just,
22 to 12. Tua one on the ground and
it's not
gets
just
the win
the
there. 22
stuff for the first half that put us in a hole that we were, we were playing catch up a whole fucking game. But then he comes on the second half and he's doing different stuff. You swear he watched my fucking video, my halftime video. He's doing exactly what I wanted to see. They're running outside with Cook. They're doing quicker passes. They're getting Kirk out and about a little bit. It's as if he fucking read my mind. But then, as we've seen, at many points during games this year, then he goes away from it again. And it screwed us up. We get the ball in the second half, go right down, score a touchdown. It was like surgical. Great, that's exactly what I wanted. Let's go. We get the ball, we give up another score. The defense we'll talk about, but then we're going right down the field again, and we get and I'm like, oh my god, Kubiak's doing exactly what we want. He's the light bulb went on over his head. He's figured it out. And then we get inside the 5, and he just he calls a couple up the middle runs, and it was like a Kirk pass that fell incomplete, and we had to kick a field goal. So it's like all the stuff's working, and then you stop doing it inside the 10, and then but then he picked it up again, and he got down and scored a touchdown. Conklin touchdown. It's baffling because if you had told me going into this game that we're going to score 27 points against this tough Bears defense, hey, I would have taken that. I would have been like, okay, that's probably the best you can hope for, and we don't know what the defense can give you, but that would hopefully be enough to get it done. But then you get this gift. You get an absolute gift because the Bears drive. It's 30-27. Bears are driving on you. And it's like 3 minutes left or something at that point. For some reason, they put the ball in Trubisky's hands, and he throws an interception. Now, it was a great play by Dantzler to get the interception, but it was a stupid play, a stupid throw. You get this gift. You now have the ball 30-27 with 3 minutes and something left. A couple timeouts, and your offense has been absolutely humming in the second half. And then Kubiak ends our season. First play is a run up the middle to Cook. Then there's a quick out or something, like a kind of a little dump out pass. Then they burn 30 seconds and then run another draw up the middle with Cook that gets stuffed. And then it's 4th and 1. And they call this ridiculous pass play that immediately puts Kirk under pressure. He's running back. He had to run back. God, he had to run back about 20 yards. And he just heaves the ball, and it was incomplete. And that's it. And it wasn't it, but I mean, that was it. That was the game. That was your chance. That was really your chance. And technically, you had a chance after that, but that was your chance.
Because the Minnesota Vikings, well,
And in the biggest drive, the biggest plays, the biggest moment of the season, with literally your season on the line. This isn't like theoretically season on the line. This is season on the line. And these are the play calls. When we've seen for most of the second half what's working, and he just goes away from it. And you can say, oh, well, we got to, the Bears are looking for that stuff, so we got, no, do it. It's provable that it works, and you use it most of the second half, and then you go away from it right when it matters most. It's the same thing that happened when they played Tennessee and lost to Tennessee. And we've seen it in many games, at points in games and at end of games. Like, the play calling is just atrocious. It's unforgivable. And I'm okay. Then you got you made a stop. I mean, I don't know how much the Bears were really trying to push the issue at that point. You stop them, they kick a field goal. It's a 6-point game, and you did get in position for a Hail Mary. But come on, and look, you had a chance. Like, even the Hail Mary, you had a chance. You got everything you could possibly wanted out of a Hail Mary. Because unless you're fucking Aaron Rodgers, you never get the goddamn Hail Marys to go your way. But you get a tip ball, you got a couple guys there, and you can get it. I mean, you can't ask for. But Hail Marys are just luck plays. People want to talk about Aaron Rodgers being, oh, he's so great on Hail Marys. It's luck. It's always luck. It's a guy's hand in the right place or not, ball gets tipped maybe. It's all luck, and of course we didn't get the luck, but we wouldn't have needed the luck if our fucking offensive coordinator, who is one of the most disappointing figures in the history of Minnesota sports for me. I really bought into Kubiak, and I feel like I was a sucker and I got took. Because like this whole season, you could never trust Kubiak, and he lost in the game today. I'm sorry, that's just how I see it. And you can talk about other things in the game certainly, but the number,
When I put new windows in my home, I used Anderson.
Okay, the defense. Look, the defense was fucking horrible today. This was the worst defensive effort we've given since, probably Atlanta. And people are, raging at Zimmer. Look, if you haven't figured out by now that Zimmer's playing with a just depleted roster that just gets worse by the week. Like, I mean, Eric Kendricks patched so many holes on this defense. I mean, he was an all-pro. Maybe he'll still be all-pro, but he was just playing at an all-pro level, patching every hole you can imagine, like making big plays all the time. He was the one guy probably on the whole defense, even more than like a Harrison Smith, that you could not lose, and they lost him. With, and now there's no reason to play him the rest of the way. I mean, it was like we were already depleted by injuries and COVID and inexperience, and you couldn't afford to lose Kendricks, and you did. Like, you couldn't have drawn up a worse scenario than losing Eric Kendricks. And look at how they've played in the 3 games without Kendricks. I mean, hell, their best defensive game was probably the Tampa game.
I think I was the one a month ago that said, Ron, the Vikings were given a gift when Trubisky.
I mean, it was just like it just never stopped with injuries and adversity on that defense this year. How they were losing guys today. They were losing guys late in the game today. Freaking Dancer got hurt at one point. He came back in and made the pick. Odenigbo was out. Watts got hurt. And you're playing so shorthanded to begin with, and then
look, if I'm a Bears
and then
fan,
you just
my
keep losing
regret
guys.
is
And,
Trubisky
and I see
a
people
5-year,
complain like, oh, why are we
$30
making Trubisky look like Patrick
I wouldn't
Mahomes?
give up on him yet,
Because
unless
guess what? Mitch
if you
Trubisky
can
is
find
better
ways to schedule the
as a
Vikings
quarterback than a
16
lot of these
times
guys
a
are
year,
as
I think he's
defensive
gonna be a
players. It's
really
just the
good
way it is.
quarterback.
Like,
He definitely has his
I
moments,
watch it and
like
I
the
get
Van
as
Danzen
frustrated as
interception was
anybody. You watch like a Chris Jones just blow every play imaginable. Like he can't play, but he can't. He has to play because you have no other other choices out there.
I think the whole Nick Foles
And
thing,
they were off the defense just has completely run out of gas, and they had no they didn't have a lot of gas to begin with. But
with the Bears, and he almost screwed the Bears up. Well, technically kind of did.
it's and the Bears have some playmakers and stuff, and it's like Trubisky's a mediocre quarterback, but he's not a bottom feeder quarterback, and we let Mike Glennon lead a game-tying touchdown drive on us a couple weeks ago. So what do you think what the hell do you think is going to happen if an even mediocre quarterback gets up against this defense? I mean, it's just the way it is. So people who get pissed off at Zimmer, and I was pissed a little bit in this game just because he kind of just he didn't like push the issue at all. Like he didn't he didn't blitz. He didn't I don't know what you can try. Maybe you can't. Maybe there's just nothing you can do at that point if you're Mike Zimmer when you've got this personnel out there. And I mean they were terrible today. Trubisky just made a fool of us. But he made a fool out of backups mostly. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. It means a lot because I'm still in my year 3, and I haven't scored a touchdown until today, and I feel like it was kind of starting to.
It's frustrating to watch, and it's just
get in the end zone eventually.
It's grotesque watching some of this defense.
Got in there, it was just kind of raw emotion.
Some of this defensive effort, and I felt kind of at times today like they weren't really maybe they weren't putting in the effort you want them to put in, but. At some, it's like, is it effort or is it just talent? Like a lot of these guys just aren't that talented. Like if they were, they would be starting legitimately on a roster somewhere. And we've got some young guys who might become something. Dancer's come on. I think Gladney's come on at points. Wanham has come on, but when you're relying on that across the board, it's going to be tough, and I'm not, go back to September. It was obvious this defense was not going to be good this year. Frankly, I don't know how they were good enough to win at Lambeau. I don't know how they were good enough to kind of, semi-dominate, the Bears the first time in Detroit and play well at times in some of these other games. And how the hell did we do that against Russell Wilson for most of that game? But it's like, the defense is what it is. The people who want Zimmer fired because of the defense this year, you're arguing the wrong point. Like it's hard to make that case now, but I've been making the case that this has been one of Zimmer's best years as a defensive coach. Just to even get this team crawling back into playoff contention with what we've got. And I am very hopeful for next year when we get back a Daniil Hunter and we have and Kendrick's back again, and we have a little more experience in the secondary, and we don't have to see people like Chris Jones and
I think that as we have
Armon Watts and Jalen Holmes, some of these guys who never should be more than backup players to begin with, and they're starting and they're playing every snap.
I'm going to start calling you Conk.
So like the defense, they're going to be bad, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. They're going to be bad. They were bad against Jacksonville. They were bad against Dallas. They were bad against Carolina. It's just they're going to be bad, and the offense has to carry their weight. And the offense, the players on offense do. I mean, the offensive line, obviously not so much, but at this point, I'm wondering if this offensive line is just looking the way it is because Kubiak is just setting them up to fail. Because I feel like Kirk, at a lot of points this season and at points today, and Dalvin too, are set up to fail by Gary Kubiak and his just. People will say, "Oh, it's Zimmer that wants to run." No, there's nothing wrong with running the football. There's certainly nothing wrong with running the football when you have a Dalvin Cook. The issue is You are running these same vanilla plays that are proven to not work, and especially are proven to not work against a team like the Bears and a defense like the Bears have. You know, we knew with John DiFilippo that this stuff didn't work, and and we knew with Stefanski that it didn't work, and now we know with Kubiak it doesn't work. So why are they going back to this every time? These runs straight up the middle into their strength, behind our weakness, long developing pocket passing plays that are going to get Kirk killed.
That's Tyler Conklin, guys, and
But then you go away from it for a while, and the offense looks great. But then you go back to the stuff that's not working in the key moments, and you lose. And it's like it's deliberate. You swear it was deliberate. What was done to the Vikings today by Gary Kubiak? I don't get it. And you could say it's Zimmer. It's not. Zimmer has a strategy that he wants Kubiak to implement. He's not telling Gary Kubiak, hey, call plays that are going to fuck us over. It's like you can run plays. If you want to be a run first team, you can run plays and still have it work. But you can't just keep going back to the well. I don't understand it.
Coordinators, things like that.
I don't like Gary Kubiak. I mean, you're not gonna fire an offensive coordinator with 2 weeks to go in the season now when the season's over. Gary Kubiak cannot be the offensive coordinator of the Vikings next year. He cannot be. You have to move on from him. I don't. It's his senility. He's not that old. Like, what the hell is the thought process behind things like that drive after the Dantzler interception, where you come out and you start running the ball up the middle, and having pocket passing. Like one of the big improvements with Kirk Cousins, and I have no problems with Kirk, but his mobility has been very, very much improved. He's much more mobile and much more skilled at that than he was even when he got here in 2018. Use it, but they don't want to use it. In the key moments, they don't use it, and then Kirk gets destroyed, and then people blame Kirk for it. It's like your offensive coordinator is leaving your quarterback and leaving your entire offense out to just be destroyed in key moments. And this is not the first game this has happened. And it will not be the last game it happens if Gary Kubiak is the offensive coordinator of this team next year. And I know there's like a reputation for Zimmer of he runs through offensive coordinators. I mean, it's not exactly true because, two of them got hired to be head coaches, so of course they're going to leave. And, DiFilippo was fucking horrible. And I wouldn't say Kubiak is quite DiFilippo level, but he lost. He ended our season today. Our offensive coordinator ended our season today by, whether it's stupidity or stubbornness, calling plays that are proven to not work in this situation in the key moments. Like we should be 7-7 right now, and hoping that the Eagles can upset the Cardinals and put us back in a playoff spot. Instead, we're buried. We're absolutely buried. We have no chance. I think I saw what it is that we got to win out. The Bears have to lose out, and the Cardinals can only win at most one more game. I mean, that's an extraordinary amount to have happen. And of course, that includes you have to go now in 5 days and beat the Saints in New Orleans on Christmas. It's just not going to happen. And so our season ended today, and it ended because Kubiak is a fucking piece of shit offensive coordinator who He's been in the league so long. He's had a lot of success. He won a fucking Super Bowl as a head coach. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if it's just game passes the guy by. He was already out of coaching because of health issues, and then he comes back. He's obviously treating this like a retirement job, and maybe he should just be allowed to go retire because, go pluck, and I don't have a list of names or anything. Go pluck, an assistant from, somebody, Kansas City, let's say, and not like a Bieniemy, because he's not the guy who's going to be a head coach, but like, go pluck an assistant from somewhere. It doesn't have to necessarily be a young guy, but just pluck an assistant who
the Cardinals are up 16 rip already.
There you go. Cardinals are already blowing out the Eagles, so whatever. Who cares? What was it? Yeah, go pluck some assistant with some new ideas. Because people will say, "Oh, Zimmer, he just wants the old guys to be here and do his way." You can have both. You can do the Zimmer run first, or priority running thing, and not do it in the way that Kubiak does it. And you can say, well, look at how good a season Dalvin Cook's had, and how good of a season Kirk's had. Of course, no one will ever admit that Kirk has had a good season because everybody hates Kirk. I look like Phantom of the Opera here with no light on the other side. You can have both. You can have, the overall Zimmer philosophy of how to run an offense, but you can have a guy calling the plays much better than what you've had. Stefanski's a younger guy, and he worked fine with Zimmer last year. And Pat Shurmur worked fine with him. So it's like, you can do this, and I hope they try to do this. But as far as the rest of this game, I thought Kirk played valiantly. That would be the word I would use, valiantly. I think he's played valiantly this whole year, just beating his head against the wall, doing everything he can to just carry this team through the bad defense, bad play calling, horrible luck. You name it. I think Kirk has really proven himself this year. I know everyone will blame him for the loss because they always do, but this guy has played out of his mind this year for the most part. He played an excellent game today against a really good defense, and he's played good games against good defenses this year. And he's got nothing. He's gonna have nothing to show for it because all everyone's gonna say is, "Well, look at the win-loss record," because that's the only thing anyone ever talks about with quarterbacks anymore is what's the win-loss record. Even context matters not to these people. And people are mad that even more mad now that we didn't tank. Well, I'm glad we didn't tank, because tanking is for fucking losers. It's for loser fans and loser franchises. And if you think that Trevor Lawrence is going to go to the New York Jets and have them in the Super Bowl in the next 3 years, you're a fucking lunatic. Sucks that I was looking at 1-5. Nobody thought there was nothing at 1-5 that indicated after they got the doors blown off at home by the Falcons that they were going to ever be anything this season. This looked like a 4 or 5 win team at most, And hell, we're only a 6-win team at the moment, so maybe we'll go 6-10. But I don't know. I think Kirk has done. I think Kirk has done everything he could in this game and the whole season. And I think he's snake bit. He's just snake bit in so many ways. He fits the franchise, I guess, because we're snake bit. you know, I mean, the offensive line was bad today, but they were going to be bad because they're facing a really good defensive front, and that's what happens in those matchups. That's what's happened against the Bears for years. You know,
yes, I know there's no fans, but
but you know, Cook was pretty good when they weren't running him right up the middle, you know, setting him up to fail. You know, Jefferson made some plays. Conklin had that really nice touchdown. Irv made a couple plays. Should have caught the ball in the end of the first half. That would have been obviously big. But you don't know for sure how the rest of the game plays out if it's, you know, if it's different there. But you know, and the defense sucked, and the defense was going to suck, and the defense will suck against the Saints and against Detroit. And it, you know, and you just hope next year that Hunter's back, Pierce can play, Kendricks is back, get a little more experience. Like, there's no reason to think this defense can't improve in a significant manner next year. But I think we are, you know, with what you've got on offense, the offense has to carry the load even next year. And it can't with Kubiak. It can't, because he cannot be trusted, because he has it right in front of his face what works, and he just goes away from it in the key moments. Season on the line today, and he just decides to run the ball up the middle twice in 3 plays and keep Kirk in the pocket to get killed behind a shaky offensive line. So, yeah, and of course, this loss was our home finale. Losing record at home. I don't think for one second that it's a coincidence that you have the first losing home record since 2011 when we lost to everybody. First losing home season since 2011 in a season that we have no fans in the stadium. And you could just kind of tell there's no energy in a lot of these home games this year, and you know, the energy from the crowd and everything, you know, that helps fuel the defense. And like, we've had mediocre Vikings teams or flat out losing Vikings teams that have still had winning records at home. You know, even the bad team in Leslie Frazier's last year that went 5-10-1. Even they had a winning record at home. Like, you know, back at the Dome. Like, we have one of the best home field advantages in the NFL, and that was wiped out this year. And you saw it in the play on the field, because, you know, other than Detroit, they didn't play a single home game that you can feel good about. It was either losses or really, you know, ugly wins. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we've been a better team on the road this year.
Disaster. That's got to be on Kubiak.
You know,
does Zim have the balls to fire Gary Kubiak? Right. Because if he doesn't,
obviously, that's not going to be a factor next year. I mean, we got vaccines out. We should be able to have, you know, certainly by next September, we should be able to have like a normal, a normal home season with actual fans. I mean, I certainly would like to get back there, but
that's the problem with the nepotism, right? Is you have position coaches that if they go,
but I don't think it's a coincidence at all that this happened at home this year. And you know, I mean, we laid an egg at home to finish the season against the Bears 2 years ago with the playoffs on the line, but that was a much better Bears team, and frankly a better Vikings team. But you know, there's a lot of like, you think having a stadium full of 60-some thousand or 70,000, whatever it is, fans wouldn't have helped us today. That it wouldn't have helped us against Tennessee. Maybe close that game out. That it wouldn't have helped us against Dallas. You know, that it wouldn't have helped us against like Carolina and Jacksonville in those games. Like, it would have helped us. We would not be 3-5 at home this year with a real home field advantage. And you know, we've had no luck this year. It's just been fucking bitch of a season. You know, I wouldn't
when you go,
go back in time and say, hey, we're 1-5. Let's just end up going, 2-14. Look, I think there's value in the fact that they got to this point, that they got to, they went into last Sunday, they were in a playoff spot, and then shit happens, and shit happened today, and shit's going to continue to happen, and we're not going to make the playoffs. But I'm sorry, people who are like, oh, now we're not going to get anybody good in the draft because we won too many games. You can get somebody good. You can get somebody. We just got Justin Jefferson, who might be the offensive rookie of the year potentially.
But they did okay.
You can get players in the draft. There's value in what the Vikings were able to do in getting to this point.
You have a really good tight end. You have two complementary tight ends that are good in Kyle Rudolph.
I know everyone hates the wait till next year crap, but look, there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful for this team for next year. With getting back a home field advantage, getting back Daniel Hunter, and Hope and Kendricks, and then Pierce, and hopefully another good draft class, and more experience for the guys in the secondary who have come on. Dantzler and Gladney have come along. They look like they're going to be able to really be players. Dan Bailey didn't miss a kick today. That was nice. Didn't even have to mention Dan Bailey until now. Hell, I think he split the uprights on everything. But, so the season is not complete. We still have 2 more games to go, but they really are just going to be for show and for just for something. But it's just been a beast of a year. I'm ready for 2020 to be over in every way that you can be. It's just been an exhausting season. Every fucking Vikings game has been it's been the roller coaster, man. Just so many games down to the end, and we've won some of those, we've lost some of those, but a couple things go our way, we're in the playoffs. A couple things go against us, more things go against us, we're out of the playoffs, But it sucks to fall short, and I was hoping we'd at least get to week 17 with a chance. Certainly doesn't look like that's going to happen now. But it's a depressing day. I'm exhausted. I can't do.
Not mom, sorry. You got to go back and tell the sisters, and because you got Marky Zimmer and all Zimmer's sisters.
You put as much into it emotionally as you do, as fans like myself do. You hope for a payoff. It doesn't have to be a Super Bowl payoff. I'm not one of those people who's Super Bowl bust about it, but you want some sort of a payoff, and maybe sneaking into the playoffs, even if you go one and done, would have been a payoff. It's not going to happen. We won at Lambeau and at Chicago. That was nice. We've got a hell of a rookie receiver. We've got a good quarterback. No matter what anyone says, we've got a really great running back. But we're gonna fall short this year of making the playoffs. And for this game, I put it on Kubiak. For the season, there's a lot of different reasons. Just you want to just ultimately chalk it up to fate. Just the fucking fates were not on our side for 2020 as Vikings fans. We had a couple little highlights, but overall it just it's never really our year, but it certainly was not this year. All the way down to the Hail Mary today that gets tipped up in the air, and we've got 2 guys right there, and neither one of them can come down with it. Oh boy. But there's one thing we are as Vikings fans, we are resilient, and we will be back for the last 2 games just for fun, and we'll be back for next season and beyond. But I am completely running out of recording time, so I'm going to have to wrap it up here. But very disappointing loss today. Didn't have to be a loss, but we still have a couple games to go before the long winter, so let's try to enjoy them.